Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at the Pokemon trading card game Battle Academy. Now, this is a product we talked about in a video recently, and I gave you a bunch of information about it. But the one thing I wasn't actually able to do was give you specifics as to the contents. Now, we knew that it was going to be featuring free decks, and we assumed from the name it was going to help people learn how to play the game. Well, the good news is we now have images of the product. Shout out, as I say incredibly often, to the lovely Primal Lugia of PokeGuardian.com for hooking us up here. And we can see that it is, in fact, very much a learn-to-play thing. Now, maybe this is me being a bit too Wassy Plays, that's my other channel, but this is not a TCG box. This is a board game box. If we look at the sign-on image here, we've got a square, fairly squat box here, but this is not the kind of box where you would usually get TCG products. There's no window to show off a fancy Pokemon GX. This is a board game box. So basically what that tells us is this is being marketed at new people who aren't necessarily, at least initially, interested in really getting into the nitty-gritty of deck building and building a collection. This is a standalone product featuring proper Pokemon TCG cards. It is very much the Pokemon TCG, but it is a standalone box designed for people to get involved and play it as a board game out of the box with their friends, rather than having to go and buy a bunch of products and learn how to build decks and all of that malarkey. Now, as someone who is obsessed with this game, and let's face it, I've kind of intertwined myself with this game quite a bit at this stage. Anything like this, which is going to bring new people into the fold, I am 100% in favour of. Now, there was a rumour about this. The rumour was a family Pokemon card game, which was seen at the London Toy Fair that I was unable to go to for boring family reasons, boo, hiss, etc. But the rumours basically were that it was more of a board game style product. Now, it is actually based on the family decks, which came out in Japan a little while ago, and had GXs like Mewtwo and Charizard. We'll get to them in just a moment. So, it's very cool in that regard. I don't know if it's necessarily aimed at people like me and you. Well, I suppose it depends who you are watching. But if you're a hardcore Pokemon TCG fan. Having said that, I've got people that don't play Pokemon that I think probably should. And you probably know people who want to play Pokemon but don't know how to get into it, or you'd like to introduce them but you want it to be easy, etc. This is how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we do it. Because this seems perfect. Now, we were told previously that it comes with free, pre-built 60-card decks. And if we have a look at the front of the box, we can see that it's clearly a shot of a game going on where one person's got a Charizard GX and one person's got a Raichu. But if we look at this lovely little banner instead, we can see that it confirms Charizard GX, Raichu GX, and Mewtwo GX. Now, none of this should surprise you even a little bit, of course, because Pikachu is the mascot of the Pokemon company as a whole. Charizard from back in the day was the Pokemon card, still probably the most popular non-Pikachu Pokemon. And Mewtwo is also phenomenally popular, definitely the most popular of the legendary Pokemon. So what they've basically done is taken these three extremely popular Pokemon and made them the focus of the free decks that you can play out of the box here. And why would they not? Like, it makes too much sense not to. They've basically gone, yeah, actually, here are the easiest Pokemon that we can use to really pull people into the game and get people interested. And again, as somebody who is over the top excited and into the Pokemon trading card game as a whole, having a product like this is just awesome. Now, if we have a look at the cards just as they are very quickly here, I mean, Charizard itself has actually been a very good Pokemon. But it is very much worth pointing out, and this was exactly the same deal as when they were released in decks in Japan, these are purposefully simple Pokemon. They are designed to be simple, straightforward, easy to use. Charizard has one attack, one GX attack, and neither of the attacks have any other effects whatsoever. Raichu has one attack and one GX attack, and has no other effects of its attacks whatsoever. And Mewtwo is actually very strange, because Mewtwo does have an effect of its GX attack in that you discard all energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. But that's the only one of these 3 GXs that actually does anything. Now, from a competitive standpoint, remember, the Charizard has actually been really good in the past. Mewtwo and Mew decks have been playing this, well, the welder lists especially, because if you go first and get at least 1 energy on, then turn 2, as long as you can get this Charizard in the discard pile, you welded 2 energy on, attach a 4th energy, and you could have welded turn 1 before they changed the rule, so that if you go first you can't. You still can go second, I suppose. And then you're hitting for 300 damage with the GX attack, which will KO a tag team. This was a genuinely, legitimately, competitively viable Pokemon, which is kind of awesome. It's fallen out of favour quite a bit now, but given that welder decks are going to be, we've talked about this in other rotation videos, welder decks are overwhelmingly going to be the best way to play Mewtwo and Mew going forward, because Rainbow Energy and Malamar are both rotating, so that actually means that it's going to be a very good card that people are going to play. Raichu and Mewtwo are not very good cards, and I don't really expect anybody to play them whatsoever. But it really is cool that GXs are being given away in this box, because people who are new to the game and children who are collecting, etc., they want these big shiny cards based on Charizard, Mewtwo, etc. Giving these out in the box really does make it far more fun for newer players. Now, we don't have a great look at the side of the box, but it very much seems like they are really pushing it as a player out the box thing, because you can see here that they've actually got a playmat, which presumably is included in there, which really lays it out as a 2-player board. Now, to be fair, theme decks have been doing this for a while, but I do, and we don't know, we've not had any kind of confirmation, but I do wonder whether this is actually going to have more of a sturdy board game style in terms of the playmat / board, rather than just having the flimsy paper board that we've had for so long at this stage. I kind of hope they do. I mean, look, in all the theme decks, they've been giving away the flimsy paper ones for a while, but I really do think it would be sensible to give these like a proper fold-out, big, thick cardboard board so that people can play on. Now, the other thing is that this is listed as €25 on one website, and we already know that it's going to have 3 60-card decks, plus a playmat, plus paper deck boxes, 2 quick guides, 1 for each player, 1 rule book, and an oversized coin, plus a set of damage counters and GX markers. For the price you're paying, it's probably not a big fold-out board, but a man can dream, ladies and gentlemen. A man can dream. And speaking of that oversized coin, we do actually have a little bit of a look at the coin on the front of the box here, and it does feature Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Charizard. I do feel a bit sorry for poor old Raichu, who's clearly the main Pokemon in one of the 3 decks, but has been completely set aside for Pikachu here. And you can see that the coin is actually about half the size of a Pokemon card, so you're looking about double the size of an average coin, which is very, very cool. I don't think it's €25 cool. I'm probably not buying the set for that, but it is very cool nonetheless. So even though all we've got is a couple of images here, these images tell us a lot. It tells us what the focus of the 3 decks are going to be. One other thing to note, they are not doing weakness and resistance here. Fire, lightning, and psychic are completely separate in terms of weakness and resistance, and this seems like a very deliberate thing. Now, back when they used to do the trainer kits, which were a previous Learn to Play product, they very deliberately had one deck hitting the other for weakness. But I do think there is a very, very deliberate thing going on here, And that is, they are not necessarily trying to teach you the game per se. What they are trying to do is give you a standalone product that you can play without ever having to invest in any other cards if you want to. And if they give you a standalone product, and the free decks are basically rock, paper, scissors, that will ruin the product, which does give far more credence to my theory that this is intended to be a standalone board game style product rather than a traditional entry to the game. Obviously, the Pokemon Company are hoping that you play this and go, this is awesome, let's keep going. But I really do think, and I've not been told this hasn't been revealed or announced or any of that, but I really do think that Pokemon's theory here is, you know what? We need to try and make this so that people can have a gateway where if all they want to do is just sit and play a couple of games, they can just sit and play a couple of games and there's nothing else that they need. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very cool product, a very, very different product, but one that I am rather excited about, and I kind of hope you guys are as well. And if you've ever thought you really need some people to get into the game but you haven't known where to start, I don't think we're ever going to get a more perfect, or at least in the near future, a more perfect starting place than this. So that's what I think about all this. That's all my theories, but I'd be very excited to know what you think and what your theories are. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice, and then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned awesome nonetheless. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.